before I start this video, I want to remind everyone, because I know how you all can be about this particular topic, that this is my opinions, and you don't have to agree with them, but this is just what I think constitutes as a good live action. And you can disagree, you can agree, but let's keep it civil, okay? With that being said, let's start. With the new Netflix live action Cowboy Bebop coming out, once again, we have a very divided fan base on whether or not this is going to be good. Is it going to be bad? I personally don't think it will be good at all. But again, guys, just my opinion. Remember, okay? And I kind of was just thinking, like, well, what would make a live action good? And on the other side, what makes a live action, in my opinion at least, bad? Is it possible for a live action to not be good or bad and just average and enjoyable to watch? I think as long as a production sticks to a few very simple rules, it is possible to make a good adaptation. Maybe not great, but definitely watchable. I think one of the more important and first rules that we really have to consider when we make a live action is that it has to still feel like it's the same universe. You can't change it so much that it loses that atmosphere that you're supposed to be feeling. In that same vein, you want to try to avoid Americanizing it or changing it to fit a certain narrative that you view as being more, I don't know, woke or appropriate for the American audience. This is something that I feel like maybe American versions suffer from the most, is they separate it a little too much from the Japanese version and makes it so American and what they view as being better, that it just loses all touch of the original world and atmosphere that, you know, made it so special as a series. However, it's not just an American problem where live action animes lose the core of what made it wonderful. Unfortunately, obviously, Japanese productions have also completely missed the mark on what made this series so special, and they too have changed things to try to make it more edgy or more, you know, acceptable. It's, you know, it's common. As long as you stick to the source material and the world and the atmosphere, you can already guarantee that at the very least it will be believable, it will be watchable, and the viewer could probably immerse themselves a little more. One of the biggest criticisms of the new Cowboy Bebop is that they revealed, quite honestly, that they are toning everything down. They're making it their own, and it's going to be a whole different thing. So, yeah, that's kind of one of the cardinal sins. The next important rule is you have to respect the characters. You have to respect how they act, how they look, how they portray themselves, and don't unnecessarily change them. And honestly, I would try to avoid changing them at all. And for the love of God, do not change the races so flippantly and in such a blatantly obvious, disrespectful way. Why even bother making it if you're going to do this? And if for some reason you want to change their race in an American version, maybe don't change their name to Light Turner, of all things. That was cringy. Turner, really? Who asked for this to be manifested? It is just the worst. Again, I'm not saying all characters should be Japanese. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, a lot of anime characters could work very well as American or German or whatever. I'm just saying do things respectively and think carefully about who you cast and what race you cast. Race aside, there are other things that you need to consider when you cast these characters. They need to actually somewhat look and feel and act like the character. And ideally, they need to look around the age of what that character is supposed to be. For example, going back to Cowboy Bebop, are the actors in it good? In general, I've seen them in things and I've enjoyed them. But do I think some of them are perfect for it? No. More specifically, John Cho. He's an amazing actor. I love him to death. But he is not the right age range for Spike at all. And I feel like they just picked him because he's popular right now. This is midlife crisis Spike. This is Spike if he had been allowed to live at the end of the series. Which, I mean, I guess if it's set in alternate future where he lives, to the end and doesn't die early, I guess that could work. It's its own thing, so maybe. But there are so many other better Asian actors they could have cast if they want to do an Asian actor. Like Harry Shum Jr. He has, I feel like, a look, is around this right age group, and I feel like the acting chops. Again, I love John Cho. He was amazing as Sulu in Star Trek. It's just, in my opinion, he's just not the right age group. Acting, sure. Acting-wise, I'm sure he's perfect for Spike. But the age is going to just take me out of it. The worst thing, though, is when they change the personality. Because it really makes it hard to believe that that's even the same character. I don't look at these two and think, oh yeah, that's Light and Misa. No, it's not. The problem is when you change too much about the character and their personality and their inner self, as well as everything else around them, be it, like I said earlier, the world or the atmosphere, you might as well just be making a different movie because it's not even the same thing anymore. And it just is going to make a lot of fans mad, except for the easy to please ones. Somebody's going to get mad. And I just feel like maybe you should just respect it. The Speed Racer movie was cheesy as heck, yes. But I looked at these characters and I could honestly somewhat see the characters in it. It was believable to me. Again, it's not a perfect movie, but it still had the right atmosphere and feel of the characters. So it was still good enough. Another really good example of getting the atmosphere down and the world and the characters is The Untamed, which is a live-action adaptation of The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. While I didn't agree 100% with all of the casting, everybody still stuck true to the core of what made each character. The acting was flawless. The story stayed true to the world. Yeah, some things were changed, but it was like an extension of the world, and I would say it was a near perfect production, honestly. Detective Pikachu, well flawed in some aspects, still kept to the core of what made Pokemon, and its characters were lovable. I could watch it again and again. I bought it. In fact, I would say Detective Pikachu is a perfect example that a movie can be neither bad nor good. It can just be average and a good popcorn flick. Just saying. But again, I still think it has a ton of flaws. Say what you want about the very first live-action Death Note, but you can't deny that the way the characters acted and dressed were on par and very canon for the original manga and anime. The actor that played L in the first live-action series was basically the perfect embodiment of L. I have never seen a more perfect casting in my life. We did stray a little bit in the 2015 live-action TV series adaptation, which leads me to another issue I sometimes have with casting. I don't really get why sometimes they change the gender of some of the characters. I don't see the point in it, I guess. To this day, I'll never understand why in the 2015 Death Note adaptation, they had to make Nier a girl, who, by the way, is psychotic and hears voices. And by voices, I guess I mean Mello, who in this adaptation is not real. He's a puppet. A very creepy puppet that to this day haunts my dreams, my nightmares, my every waking moment. They didn't need to make him a puppet, little less a creepy puppet, but they did. They made that choice. And she argues with the puppet, and the puppet bullies her and tells her what to do. And, calls her a dummy. Okay. I would say the TV series is still worth watching, though, for the casting of Ellen Light. That part's still good. I can sort of let the gender bend of Near slide, but there's one in particular that, I don't know, I just can't let go. And that's the gender bend in Black Butler's live action. In this, they made him into a girl pretending to be a boy, but isn't even actually Ciel. It's like a descendant of Ciel, even though Ciel technically is supposed to die young, so I guess it's like his twin brother. I don't know. It's all just very weird, and I just didn't really see the point of it or need to do this. My last rule to really consider is it necessary? Can I adapt this in a respectful manner that will be good and worth watching, or am I just running it into the dirt? Heck, do I have the funds and the ability and the talented enough group to accurately even make this so it'll even look nice? If you answer no to any of these questions, then you probably shouldn't make it. Some things are just better left animated. And others already have a perfect version made in Japan or elsewhere. And an American version or another remake period is just honestly not necessary at this point. Like, I know I keep crapping on Death Note, but seriously, guys, don't you think that 3 different live-action Death Note adaptations in the span of 10 years, 2 of them being only 2 years apart, maybe that's a bit much, especially considering one of the series was still technically ongoing when the American version came out. It was really painful to watch and compare. So, I mean, again, is it necessary? Always ask this. In the end, however, there will always be live-action animes. It's here to stay. Some will be good, some will be bad, some of them will be average. And ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether or not that movie is going to be good or if it's going to be bad. And it's okay to complain about them. It's okay to praise them. You're human. You're allowed to have an opinion. In conclusion, do your research. I advise you to look into the casting, look into the changes that they are making or aren't making, see what's going on with the production, look at the directors and producers and everything past history on what they've made, and you can make a pretty easy critical opinion on how you think that this show is going to be and if you're even going to like it. Don't feel like you have to actually watch the show to see if you're going to like it. You know what I mean? Odds are, if you automatically don't like it, it's going to be hard for you to end up liking it upon watching it all the way through. At least watch the trailer, I guess. With how violently against the new Cowboy Bebop series people are due to the changes and some of the casting choices and so on, I'm curious to see how many people will flip upon watching it, if they're going to watch it. I guess we'll find out. I suppose if enough people ask for it, I may watch it when it comes out on Netflix and do my own little opinionated review with a little bit more of an open mind because I'll have, watched it through. Then we can see if I'm right to be skeptical. What are your thoughts and opinions on the whole live action debacle? Do you have any that you really hate or any that you really love or some live actions you wish could happen? Let me know down below. Till next time. See you guys later.